You think the Real Housewives are all glamour, luxury, and perfect lives? Think again. Behind the mansions, designer heels, and fancy vacations, there's a world of secrets, betrayals, and chaos. Take Mia Thornton, for example. Her marriage seemed flawless, but what happened behind closed doors shocked everyone. Divorce, secret affairs, viral scandals, and even legal drama, it's all there. And the craziest part? Much of it was hidden until someone decided to go public. By the end of this video, you'll see the real story behind the cameras, and it's nothing like what you've been shown. The Real Housewives franchise was originally marketed as a glamorous peek into elite lifestyles, shiny cars, immaculate mansions, curated wealth, and polished women navigating high society. But lately, especially with the chaos surrounding the Real Housewives of Potomac, the fantasy has cracked wide open. Instead of elegance and sophistication, the headlines have been overflowing with drama, public meltdowns, legal trouble, and a whole lot of what is even happening right now, energy. Over the last year alone, multiple cast members have reportedly found themselves entangled in legal issues, turning what was once a show about social prestige into something more like a revolving door of scandals. One of the most widely discussed and repeatedly dissected storylines in the recent wave of Real Housewives commentary revolves around Mia Thornton. Her situation has become a kind of modern reality TV cautionary tale, filled with unexpected turns, emotional disclosures, and the type of revelations that leave both viewers and critics saying, "Wait, what just happened?" For many people who casually watch the franchise, Mia started out as the glamorous newcomer, confident, bold, outspoken, and always ready with a clever one-liner. But as the seasons unfolded, her private life began bleeding into the public spotlight in ways that were far more dramatic than anyone could have predicted. To understand why her story attracts so much attention, you have to go back to how she entered the Real Housewives world. Mia rose to visibility while married to Gordon Thornton, a significantly older and financially well-established businessman. From the beginning, viewers were told, both through the show and through interviews, that Gordon had played a big role in shaping the comfortable lifestyle Mia enjoyed. He was the provider, the seasoned entrepreneur, the man who had built his wealth brick by brick. Mia, on the other hand, was the polished wife who stepped into this world of luxury and turned it into something even more glamorous with her appearance, personality, and ambition. Together, they created the picture of a couple who, despite their age difference, understood each other and seemed to operate with a certain level of mutual respect. At least, that was the surface. And on reality television, the surface is rarely the full story. From the outside looking in, their marriage appeared stable, maybe unconventional, maybe imperfect, but stable enough. Mia and Gordon often presented themselves as partners who communicated openly, supported each other's ventures, and were navigating life with a unique dynamic that seemed to work for them. But as the months went on, cracks began showing. And those cracks quickly turned into public conversations, interviews, reactions, and the kind of social media commentary that spreads fast. According to Gordon's own public statements he voluntarily shared in interviews and discussions, he reached a point in their marriage where he began to believe that he might not be able to meet all of Mia's emotional or physical needs. This wasn't whispered gossip or anonymous speculation. This was Gordon speaking directly about his marriage, his insecurities, and his attempts to keep things functioning. It was a level of vulnerability many people weren't expecting from him, especially considering his business background and strong personality. Then came the moment that truly caught everyone off guard. Gordon claimed that, in an effort to preserve their relationship and maintain honesty between them, he actually gave Mia permission to seek companionship elsewhere. He framed it as a mature, calculated decision, a way to allow her freedom without dismantling the structure of their home life. It wasn't something he said lightly, nor was it something most viewers had ever heard a spouse admit on national television. But even this permission, as he described it, came with boundaries. According to Gordon, he established two conditions that he felt were reasonable and necessary. The first was that whatever Mia chose to do privately should remain just that, private. He didn't want their situation becoming a spectacle, a rumor mill, or a public storyline that could affect their reputation or their personal dignity. The second condition was even more important to him. He insisted that under no circumstances should their children be pulled into or exposed to any adult complications. For Gordon, their kids were the line that could not be crossed, no matter what happened between the two of them. The way Gordon described this arrangement, it was almost as if he believed he was choosing the lesser chaos, accepting a difficult truth in order to protect the family unit. Some viewers sympathized with him, saying it must have taken enormous emotional strength to make such a concession. Others felt confused, wondering how a marriage could reach that point and still function. And many simply couldn't believe he had publicly admitted it at all. But regardless of the audience reaction, his statements added a new layer to the story, one that made Mia and Gordon's marriage suddenly far more complicated than people had assumed. What looked like a glamorous partnership from the outside now seemed to be built on unspoken struggles, unmet needs, and a kind of emotional negotiation that most couples never reveal. The situation raised questions about what was really happening behind closed doors long before the public even had an inkling. Were they trying to keep the peace? Were they trying to preserve a lifestyle? Were they trying to hold on to something that had already shifted? No one outside their home truly knows the full truth, but Gordon's disclosures suggested that their marriage had been balancing on quiet tensions for much longer than viewers realized. And that is one of the reasons Mia's storyline continues to be discussed. It illustrates how dramatically the reality behind a perfect couple can differ from the version shown on television. What seemed polished from the outside was apparently far more fragile and complicated beneath the surface. And as soon as those private details began spilling into public conversations, the narrative transformed from a glamorous TV romance into a layered, emotionally charged story about expectations, limitations, and a marriage that was quietly unraveling long before it became headline material. But despite what he viewed as an open arrangement, Gordon later alleged that Mia had still chosen to sneak around, keep secrets, and alter her story in ways that left him confused and frustrated. He said she stopped communicating honestly and eventually began referring to another man as her soulmate. Gordon insisted that he saw the phone records. After all, the account was in his name, which is how he claims he pieced together what was happening behind the scenes. When Gordon eventually went public about the alleged affair, Mia responded with a very different perspective. She explained that although she and Gordon had been attending counseling and genuinely trying to repair their relationship, things changed when he took the situation to the public. She said that his decision to speak openly about such personal matters felt like a betrayal, a line she didn't want crossed. For her, that became the breaking point. She filed for divorce shortly afterward, saying she wanted to protect her peace, avoid public humiliation, and focus on maintaining stability for their children, who she emphasized should never be involved in their adult conflicts. However, the drama didn't stop there. Mia's name continued popping up in blogs and entertainment commentary, especially regarding her on- and off relationship with a radio personality known as Incognito, often referred to simply as Ink. Reports claimed that the two had been connected while she was still married, creating even more buzz around her personal life and fueling speculation about what had really happened during her marriage to Gordon. The broader point many commentators began making was that the Real Housewives universe often paints a picture of effortless wealth and success, yet behind the scenes, some cast members appear to struggle with financial instability or questionable business ventures. Many of the businesses showcased on reality TV, lingerie lines, beauty brands, lifestyle merch, pop-up real estate projects, look glamorous but don't always provide consistent income. And once a public image of luxury is established, there's pressure to keep up appearances even if the money isn't flowing the way people assume. Some end up spending far more than they earn just to maintain the illusion that they are thriving. Another cast member, Dr. Wendy Osefo, also found herself in the spotlight after reports surfaced claiming she and her husband were facing serious financial scrutiny involving alleged fraudulent activity. Whether the details were accurate or exaggerated by social media is another story entirely, but the situation reinforced the narrative that many Housewives cast members are dealing with far more behind the scenes than viewers realize. And in a moment that aged very poorly, Mia, weeks before her own legal situation, posted a joking video saying she had just gotten out of jail and laughing about Wendy allegedly heading in next, adding that she was tired of the drama and ready to mind her business. But irony came knocking. Not long after that joke went viral, footage circulated showing a police officer calmly informing Mia that she had an outstanding warrant connected to an alleged furniture-related incident involving claims of thousands of dollars in items being taken from an apartment. Again, these were allegations, but the timing was so uncanny that social media practically exploded. Clips, memes, reactions. Everywhere you looked, people were joking that the franchise should rebrand itself as the Real Housewives of Jail. For many viewers and commentators, the larger message became clear. The glamorous, filtered image some reality stars present online doesn't always match their real-world circumstances. Many look polished and put together. Perfect hair, perfect makeup, luxury heels, expensive vacations. But behind the curated Instagram aesthetic, some may be juggling inconsistent income, growing bills, and mounting pressure to maintain a lifestyle they can't afford. The moment the checks slow down, the struggle becomes real, and desperation can push people into messy decisions. Meanwhile, countless men watching from the sidelines get dazzled by appearances without understanding the financial instability that may be hiding behind the glam. Not every woman in the reality television or social media world fits the stereotype of reckless spending or flashy appearances masking financial instability. Many women genuinely break the mold. They dedicate themselves tirelessly to building their careers, managing their finances responsibly, and developing personal and professional brands with a long-term mindset. These are the women who treat fame as a tool rather than a lifeline, who understand that recognition and public attention are fleeting, and who balance visibility with substance. They invest in themselves, their education, and their businesses, knowing that the real measure of success lies not in the number of likes or followers but in sustainable growth and a stable, self-sufficient life. However, the recurring pattern in the world of the Housewives franchise, and in many corners of influencer culture, is harder to ignore. There is a culture built almost entirely around cloud-driven lifestyles. In this digital age, relevance has become the primary currency, far outweighing tangible accomplishments or consistent income. Likes, views, social media engagement, and trending moments are what keep someone hot in the public eye. Fame is no longer a byproduct of achievement, it becomes the achievement itself. For some, maintaining that kind of constant visibility becomes more important than maintaining financial or emotional stability. This phenomenon creates pressure not just to perform but to perform constantly, with each day presenting a new test of creativity, allure, and public intrigue. When a person's perceived value is tied so heavily to staying talked about, the stakes become incredibly high. Every post, every public appearance, every viral moment must be calculated, or risk being forgotten in a world where attention spans are short and the next story is always just around the corner. This pressure is relentless, and it can push even highly intelligent, motivated women into making questionable choices, whether that involves overspending, exaggerating their lifestyles, or making impulsive decisions designed to keep themselves in the conversation. Maintaining a personal brand in the digital age often means walking a fine line between authenticity and spectacle, and missteps are magnified tenfold. Moreover, the financial reality behind many of these glamorous public personas is often much less secure than it appears. Even when money comes in, it often goes right back out almost immediately. The costs of keeping up appearances, luxury cars, designer wardrobes, lavish parties, curated photo shoots, and public events can quickly consume any income, leaving little to nothing saved for the future. For some women in the spotlight, the cycle becomes endless. They hustle for attention, convert attention into brief financial windfalls, and then spend that money to stay relevant and maintain a high-profile image. The pressure is constant, the returns are inconsistent, and the result is often a fragile system where real security is perpetually out of reach. This cycle is not only financial but psychological. The need to remain visible, relevant, and admired can shape decisions in ways that are far from rational or sustainable. A misstep can lead to public scrutiny, loss of opportunities, or even criticism that undermines the carefully constructed persona. And because so much of this lifestyle is driven by public perception rather than internal fulfillment, failure is never just private. It is broadcast, dissected, and often ridiculed by a global audience. For some women, that pressure is exhilarating. For others, it is exhausting, anxiety-inducing, and ultimately destabilizing. Even the women who appear to have it all together face unique challenges. Maintaining a brand or persona in the public eye requires constant work, networking, and the ability to adapt quickly to trends. Social media algorithms, audience expectations, and the 24-hour news cycle can dictate how one should present themselves, what kinds of partnerships they should pursue, and even how to express personal stories in ways that maximize engagement. The more a woman depends on public attention for income or relevance, the more vulnerable she becomes to fluctuations in that attention. Fame, in this sense, is almost as fragile as it is valuable. It can be gained in an instant and lost just as quickly. Yet despite these pressures, it's important to recognize the women who do get it right. They find ways to balance visibility with sustainability. They understand that attention alone does not equal wealth, stability, or happiness. They invest in businesses that generate recurring income, they save strategically, and they maintain professional and personal boundaries that protect both their financial security and mental well-being. These women use the tools of fame as a platform, not a crutch. They understand that popularity fades, but credibility, consistency, and a solid foundation last. The contrast between these two paths, the performative cloud-driven lifestyle versus the sustainable, grounded approach, highlights a critical lesson for anyone observing the world of high-profile women, reality television stars, or influences, appearances are rarely a reliable measure of reality. Just because someone looks successful, polished, or glamorous does not mean they have the stability to back it up. On the flip side, those who work behind the scenes to build a strong foundation may never generate the viral buzz or constant headlines but are far more likely to maintain long-term security and personal fulfillment. Ultimately, the recurring patterns seen in the housewives' world serve as a cautionary tale about the dangers of valuing attention over stability. Fame, likes, and social media clout can provide short-term rewards, but they cannot replace solid financial planning, long-term investment in personal growth, or the peace of mind that comes from knowing one's foundation is secure. For women navigating this environment, understanding the difference between performative success and substantive success becomes a survival strategy, as well as a roadmap for turning visibility into sustainable achievement. In short, while not all women fall into the category of chasing clout at the expense of stability, the spectacle-driven nature of the reality television and influencer ecosystem is unmistakable. The pursuit of attention, the pressures to maintain a curated image, and the impermanence of fame create a cycle that can be thrilling, draining, and financially precarious. Recognizing these dynamics, and understanding how to navigate them responsibly, is what separates the women who simply survive the spotlight from those who thrive in it. In the end, the saga surrounding Mia, Gordon, Wendy, and others becomes a cautionary tale about the difference between real wealth and performative wealth. It's a reminder to look beyond flashy appearances and loud personalities. It's also a reminder that when someone reaches their late 30s or 40s and is still caught up in the chaotic whirlwind of financial instability, public drama, and impulse-driven decisions, something deeper may be going on behind the scenes. So what do you think about all of this? The roller coaster of reality TV continues, exposing the contrast between Hollywood-polished lifestyles and the complicated personal realities underneath. It's messy, dramatic, and impossible to look away from. Yet it also reveals how easily perception can overshadow truth in the age of social media.